Greetings, fellow detectives. Wizard Kitten 774 here, bringing you Nancy Drew game commentary, clues, and cookies. Today we are starting the 13th mystery in the Nancy Drew series, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Really an excellent mystery just all around, so let's get started on Senior Detective as always.
Welcome to my latest case, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Dear Hannah, here I am at the railroad station along with a handful of other detectives about to board a train bound for who knows where. The only person who knows where we're going is Lori Gerard. That's the young woman who invited everyone. Actually, she didn't really invite me. She invited Frank and Joe Hardy, and they invited me. And I've always wanted to join forces with the Hardy boys. I just hope this doesn't turn out to be another one of Lori's silly attempts to grab publicity. Some people can be a little too rich and a little too famous for their own good. Wish me luck. Love, Nancy.
Well, people, now that our little orientation tour is over, let's get started. Okay, I, again, am Lori Gerard, and the first thing I want to do is thank you all for coming. John Gray. I am so thrilled that you're taking time out from that TV show of yours to do some ghost hunting here with us. I mean, Ghost Chasers is like the best cable show ever. And Charleena Purcell. I cannot tell you how much I adore those romance novels you write. Your characters just seem so real. And all that stuff you know about the Old West, you are just awesome. And Tino Balducci. Only the most famous police detective in the country. And then there's Frank and Joe Hardy. They're amateur detectives. My dad and their dad are old friends. And you must be the other amateur detective, their friend? Natalie?
Nancy Drew?
Whatever. All right, I'll bet you're wondering where we're going. Well, we're going to Copper Gorge, Colorado. Why? To solve the mystery of what happened to Jake Hurley, the man who originally owned this train. Because see, one day in 1903, this train was found in a place called Blue Moon Canyon, which was out in the middle of the Nevada desert. Only the engineer was on board, and he was dead. As for Jake Hurley, he had disappeared from the face of the earth. Oh, and two more things. Before he disappeared, Jake was rumored to have found the richest gold mine in the world. And the train he owned, this train, his wife Camille died on it while they were going to the gold fields. It was rumored to be haunted.
Uh-oh.
She's gone.
Oh my gosh.
What in the world?
Hey, what's going on?
People should never go tampering with things they don't understand.
Oh, brother.
It's okay. Everybody just stay calm. No need to panic. I'll get to the bottom of this.
Well, Nancy, you're up on all that social etiquette stuff. What are you supposed to do when your hostess vanishes into thin air?
I don't know.
If I don't seem concerned, it's because I'm not. Lori Gerard is a young woman whose only goal in life is to be famous. She craves attention and habitually uses her father's considerable wealth to get it.
So you think her disappearing like that is just some kind of publicity stunt?
I just think she couldn't resist showing off in front of all of us minor celebrities. What was your name again?
Nancy Drew. You and I have actually met. Sort of. I called you not too long ago when I was at Shadow Ranch. You gave me some information about Dirk Valentine.
Ah, Nancy Drew.
That's a cookie back to the 10th mystery in the Nancy Drew series, where we did talk to Charleena.
You don't remember me, do you?
No.
Well, we remember you.
What else do you know about Jake Hurley?
Psst, Nancy! Come here!
Excuse me for a second.
And this is also the first mystery in the Nancy Drew series where we see the Hardy Boys actually in person. And they did such a great job with the Hardy Boys in this mystery. I'm so happy with them. I mean, just look at them.
Hey, Nance.
Where have you two been?
I followed Tino Balducci.
And I went after John Gray.
He went straight to the room in the car that used to be Camille's and didn't come out again. I could hear all these weird noises coming from inside.
Any idea what he was doing?
I was just about to go in, but the next thing I know, Joe's got my arm in a vice grip and is dragging me back here, babbling about how Balducci's our guy.
He found something on the floor right where Lori was standing when the train went dark. I saw him pick it up and put it in his pocket. Then he left.
Did you ask him about it?
When I tried to talk to him, he just kind of brushed me aside and said something snotty like, "I'm on the job here, Junior, so just go back to the playground and stay out of the way." In case you two hadn't noticed, we're not getting a lot of respect around here. Can't we at least tell Balducci that we do stuff for ATAC?
You know the rules.
ATAC?
American Teens Against Crime. We do a lot of undercover work for them.
Wonder Cop's probably never even been undercover.
Joe, let it go. What'd Charleena have to say?
She thinks Lori is faking this whole disappearance thing.
She's not the only one.
How can you say that? You heard Lori scream.
Anybody can scream, Joe. Especially girls whose fathers have given them acting lessons along with everything else they've ever wanted.
What about you, Nancy? What do you think?
I kind of agree with Frank.
You've got to be kidding.
Do you think maybe one of Lori's other guests is in on her disappearance?
It's certainly possible.
From the way she talked, it didn't sound like she knew any of them.
Maybe that's what she wanted us to think.
Or maybe that's what one of them wanted her to think.
Well, whether Lori disappeared by force or by choice, what we've got to do now is find her.
Absolutely.
Has anyone talked to the engineer?
Not that I know of.
Then I'm going to head up front and tell him what's happened. Maybe he knows something we don't.
Good idea. In the meantime, we'll take another look around in here.
Great. Catch you later.
Alright, so those are the Hardy Boys, Joe and Frank. We've talked to them on the phone before, but this is the first time we've seen them in person.
Pretty. Looks like some kind of gemstone.
That is really pretty. So, let's see. I love the beginning of this mystery, too.
Sadie Crawford.
Sadie Crawford. Just with the way that it introduces everyone, and it sounds like just the beginning of like a murder mystery dinner or something.
It looks like there's something behind this painting, but I can't seem to move it.
Odd. What else do we got in here? Flippy Finn's freshly canned salmon from Bellingham, Washington. Salmon canners for a very, very long time. That could be a cookie back to Danger on Deception Island, which also took place in Washington. Had to do with fish and whales and other marine creatures. So we should go up front here. We said we'd talk to the engineer, so let's do that.
Engineer, what do you want?
Hello, I'm one of the passengers, and I just thought you should know that Lori Gerard has disappeared.
So?
Did you know she was going to disappear?
Hey, all I know is I take orders from Miss Gerard, okay? Right now my orders are to get this train to Copper Gorge non-stop. And until Miss Gerard tells me otherwise, that's what I'm gonna do.
But Lori may not even be on the train anymore.
Look, Miss Gerard may not be a rocket scientist or anything, but even she knows better than to jump off a moving train.
But...
Now, if you'll excuse me, I got me a train to run.
Huh. He does not sound terribly concerned about that.
looks like some sort of steam valve.
Warning, do not open unless all pipes are connected. So what happens if we turn it then? Oh, that looks bad.
That doesn't look good.
Yep, okay, we'll turn it off. Okay, so we must need to do something with pipes.
This door goes outside. Opening it now would not be a good idea.
Right. We do not want to jump off a moving train, just like the engineer thinks Lori
A
would not
square
want.
and a duck.
That's very cryptic.
It looks like this thing opens up. But how?
With a square and a duck, Nancy, we clearly just need to go get those two things. Alright, let's do some more exploring. We didn't really get to finish talking to Charleena.
Yes?
What are you working on?
I'm writing my next book. I'm on a deadline, so until I write those two most wonderful of all three-letter words, the end, everywhere I go, my laptop goes, and every chance I get, I write.
What else do you know about Jake Hurley? You know, the man who originally owned this train?
Wealthy, imaginative, adventurous, stubborn, egocentric, and most importantly, he was smitten at the age of 35 by a young French woman named Camille Voulet, who died about a year after they were married.
Where was he from?
East Coast, Philadelphia, I think. His parents were British aristocrats. Sometime in the 1870s, he decided to seek his fortune out west, So he had this train custom built so that he, and some years later his wife, could traverse the mountains and plains in relative comfort.
Where did he meet Camille?
I don't know that. The circumstances surrounding her passing are a bit of a mystery, too. All anyone knows for sure is that years after Camille's death, he showed up in Denver with a pouch full of gold nuggets and semi-precious stones, which he used to purchase mining supplies. He refused to say how he'd come by them, which of course led to speculation that he had found a fantastically rich vein somewhere. Although to this day, its existence remains unsubstantiated, and its location quite unknown.
Why do you think Lori invited you on this trip?
No doubt because I'm such an authority on life in the Old West, and because I'm so good at using old information to unearth new information. My knack for research is, well, it's a gift.
I should get going.
Let me know if you run across anything juicy.
She's not the most humble of people, but she is full of useful information. Alright, oh, hello. You are, ooh.
Another gemstone.
You have a gemstone eye. Ram, probably? What's this? Emergency brake. We are not going to pull that. That would be a bad idea. What's this? Aha! Puzzle box. Okay. So we need, let's see, these are corners. Probably not where those corners go. Right click to rotate. As in most Nancy Drew puzzles. Okay, let's see. So we want this one to match up. It's so hard to tell the difference. That kind of looks right, but I feel like there needs to be more on the side. More of these like triples. Maybe not though. What about if we took this one here? Does that look right? Yeah, that looks good. And then this is obviously the middle. And this is the top. Because of the little loopy things. How does that look? Oh, that looks better. That fits much better. This must turn this way. Most likely. Yeah, because it's got kind of little loops on the bottom too. Maybe this one goes down here. More of that yellow color. And this one goes up here because it's more gold. That looks right. But it must not be totally right because, you know, I bet these ones swap. Do they? No, they don't. Those don't line up. How about... do these ones swap? Aha! They do.
Left pickaxe and lamp with buhl for safekeeping. To open what's closed, lead is the key. Or is it lead is the key?
I do not know. I guess we will find out.
This must have been the sleeping car.
Yeah. Okay, well I guess I'm gonna leave this part right here, and we'll do some more exploring in the next part. See you soon, fellow detectives. Thanks for watching.